Good afternoon students. Leo tutaendelea na somo letu ambalo ni lesson 9. It's all about storing of data. Data storage here kwenye chapter hii tutadiscuss vitu vifuatavyo. Tutadiscuss kuhusiana na files, internal storage, external storage and SQLite database. And also we shall check about other storage options. Now, the storage options we have, tutakuwa na shared preference ambayo inadili na private primitive data in key value pairs. And also we shall check about internal storage. That's all deal with the private data on device memories. Also, we shall check about external storage. That's all about public on device or external storage. That means anybody can as well see these data that has been stored under external storage. And also, we shall check about SQLite database, which is part of SQL technology of data storage structure. Also, these data are private. That means security-wise is very nice and better than external storage. And also, we shall check about the content providers as part of data storing of your mobile apps. Now, also we shall check about online dealing with the network connection. It will consist of web. If you have your own server that you can store some data for your mobile apps. And also we shall check about cloud backup. That is special backup storage provided by some other companies. So you can have that opportunity to store your data. So if you have that cloud backup services. And lastly, also we shall check about Firebase database. That is stored in a synchronization of data with NoSQL cloud database across client in real time. So these are the storage part we will check in this part. Now, what is file or Android file system? About internal and external storage. We say app can browse the directory structure and operation similar to Linux and Java input outputs. So we can as well provide a special mechanism for the files storage during your mobile app usage. So you can decide to save these things in either external storage or internal storage of your mobile apps. Now, something deal with internal storage, that means we say always available. So your mobile app or your device will consist of internal storage. That means it's available for your app to be or to use it. So most of file system uses that internal storage. We say also only your app can access files unless explicitly set to be readable or rewritable. So we know that your app is only responsible to access those files, not any other apps apart from your own apps. And unless we say it's explicit, that means you provide a special permission for other apps to access the so-called information for your apps. That's so explicit. That will choose, or you will specify which app will also be allowed to use your files. Also on app uninstall, if you need to uninstall your app system, that say system remove all apps file from your internal, so it will remove each and everything that has been stored in internal storage. Now for the external storage, actually we say not always available can be removed. That's why we say it is an option. You can either use it or leave it. So we say it is always not always available. That's why say it is this external storage. You can. That's why some mobile phone has got no external storage. So it's an option you can put or you can leave it. We normally use it to provide additional storage for your devices. Not must or necessary to be there, but it's important to have external storage. Vile vile say uses device file system or physical external storage like SD cards. The mechanism of most of external storage device kama unaofa memory card zinatumia storage ya nini? SD, solid state card. So that's the technology is the external storage zinazoweza kutumia. It is a world readable, so any app can read. We know actually this removal of external devices. It is worldwide actually. So on an install system does not remove file private app. So the bad part of it, when you need to uninstall your apps, sometimes if this file stored kwenye external, it can remain there. Inaweza isiitoe yote kwa ujumla ikaacha hapo, which is not so secure. Now let us ask ourselves when to use internal or when to use external. So we as a developer, we must know exactly that in which circumstances that we need to use internal or in which situation that we need to use external storage. So hizi ni baadhi ya sababu or some reason behind this situation. We say use internal is best when we say when you you want to be sure that neither the user nor other apps can access your file. So for the security wise, tunahitaji kuwa na internal to make sure kwamba tunataka kujua any user or app zisiweze access those files. So tunafahamu is only your app can be allowed to use files of yours. Kwa hiyo inakuwa more secure actually in that way. Now external, we say the best for files that we say don't require access restriction and for. Kwa hiyo kama sina cha kuficha, just open like that, you can use external actually because it is there, public, anybody can access it. So when you want to share with other apps, and we know it's explicit by nature that any other app can as well use your files. Kwa applications zingine zinaweza zikatumia app yako, file zako ukitumia external. Vile vile say it allows the user to access with a computer. Kwa hiyo inaruhusu kuwa accessible outside, kwa sababu external storage then it can be also accessed outside or within other platform like a computer system, which is good. Now save user's file in shared storage. As we know earlier, what is shared storage? How can we save this file kwenye shared storage? We say save new file that the users acquire through your app to a public directory where other apps can access them and the user can easily copy them from the device. So that's the one. And also we say save external files in public directory. Kwa hizo ni alternative jinsi gani unaweza ukasave mafaili yako. Mfano umetaka enter some data, you want to store those data over there so that you can access next time. Kwa hiyo utahifadhi kwenye hizo storage. Now internal storage. If we need to use internal storage, some apps by nature, if you install it, it will direct stored kwenye internal storage. Haitakupa access kwenda kuhifadhi kwenye external. Kwa hizi zitalazimisha uinstall kule. Now we say it uses private directories just for your app. Hiyo ni ya kwanza, lakini tutasema feature nyingine ya internal, we say app always has permission to read and write. Kwa zile apps zina haki ya kuread na write in that particular area. Now, the method used by Android Studio to make sure it can store permanently is called the get file directory method. This one is a special directory that will help to make sure it will remain there, permanent storage. And also we have this temporary storage directory like get catch dir, that is get catch directory methods for the temporary storage of those files under internal storage. So in the command part of your Java file, you can create method file from the special class files, so new file, context.get file directories, then you specify the file name you want to store. Because this method will let you store your information with given file name here and store in so-called internal memory. We actually remember in Java programming that you normally use java.io, special class for input and output for file operations or streams to interact with file. Kipindi mnasoma Java mlifundishwa hizo zile special class za Java kwa ajili ya kudeal with files za input and output. Kwa hiyo it uses the same method to make sure you can operate your files in that way. Now for external part, we say external storage we say normally used on device or SD card. So that's the one you can connect from your mobile phone. Also, you can set permission in Android manifest. That means you can specify the permission, like if you need to write permission, reading is kind of. Or you can specify also that thing. For example, if you need to put these permissions, you can, and XML, so you can say use permission, okay, Android name, okay, that's the name of Android permission. Now permission you say is write external storage. So it can be able to save or to use external storage to write your files as well. And also you can provide a read permission on your external storage. So these two commands will include read and write permission in external storage. Also, it's very important to check the availability of your storage. That's why sometimes when you want to install a certain application or apps from your mobile device, it will ask you, please remove or provide more space, remove other apps so that you can install. That means Android is also going to check if the space is available so that the new app can as well install in your mobile device. So this is how it's gonna check the availability of the storage. Now the following command shows that thing. So is external storage writable? This one it will check if according to the size of this app, the required available size is available for this app to be installed. So it's going to check that thing. So string state, we say environment.get external storage state is going to get the status of its the size. So environment.mediamounted.echo state. So it's going to return if it is true, then if it is false, you'll get the message that no space available for that app to install. So these are some examples of external public directories. We have directory alarms, directory ringtones, they are public for anybody to access them, directory documents, directory downloads. These files installed, we call them to say these are the external or public directories. So you can use them in public or external. So now, to get this, you must also indicate accessing public external directory, the one we saw earlier. Those there for alarms, for ringtone, for document, and other stuff. So to access them, that we say we need to create that method called get external storage public directory. This one will give you a specific path towards those external or public directories for your apps. So we create it. Then we need to indicate the file path where those information will be stored. So then you can indicate, like for example, here we say new file, the path, we indicate the path, then the name of your file, the one you want to store. It will go there. So how much storage left? You can as well check about the size of in your device actually. So if there is not enough space, you need it to. It can throw this input-output exception error. Actually, exceptions, some errors actually. So if you know the size of the file, check against space. You can use these two methods: get free space and get total space, to know the free space is how much, the total space is how much, so you can actually know the available space that is for your app. So if you do not know how much space is needed, then use try catch IO exception. That means it will, instead of app being in stuck state, that at least can give you error that, or the feedback that the space isn't enough. It's not enough. So how to delete files that no longer needed? We have that special method called myfile.delete. It will help you for internal storage. For external storage, we use mycontext.delete file. Then you provide the file name you want to delete. Do not delete the user's file. This is a precaution we normally tunashauri. Delete users' files that are not associated with your apps. So when the user installs your app private storage directory and all its content are deleted. So do not use private storage for the content that belongs to the user. So for example, photos captured with your apps, music the user has purchased with your apps. Those are the things that we don't want to delete unless you know what you are doing, then you can accept. But it is recommended that don't delete them. When you can take care of that. Now let us check how we can use this storage engine like Share Preference, SQLite, and other like online storage platform that we can store our file from there. Now what is SQLite? With SQLite database, it's ideal for repeating structured data such as contacts. That is very useful for that. Also, you can use for Android provides SQLite database. And also in that part, we shall check about SQLite Premier, introduction to SQLite database, SQLite data storage practical, and as well as how you can search an SQLite database practically. So we shall do examples on how we can store data with SQLite. And then remember, we use SQLite. Why SQLite? Because this is special database engine for mobile apps. That's why it's called SQLite. But in short, it has all similarities and in terms of commands and structure, just like SQL, Oracle, MySQL database, so something like that. this is the same idea you normally use in MySQL. The same thing that we are going to use in this SQLite database for Android Studio. Now, shared preference. Read and write small amounts of primitive data as key value pairs to file on the device. So this kind of storage, it is recommended, especially you deal with a small amount of primitive data types for your apps. We say covered in later in chapter in the practical part. So tutaangalia baadaye part hiyo jinsi gani ya ku create app using shared preferences. So we have other storage options that we can use, like a Firebase to store and share data. This service is available for Firebase, google.com. They can provide space for your storage. We say it is store data and synchronize data with the Firebase cloud database. So it's a cloud service that you can use. Data is synchronized across all clients and remain available when your app goes offline. Kwa hiyo inakuruhusu with access even you are offline as well. So that's a kind of information you can use to store your data. So it's a cloud kind of storage. Firebase real-time database with a connected apps, shared data, hosted in the cloud. Data is stored with JSON, especially for Java database engine is called JSON. You can use it if you remember Java data storage. Also, data is synchronized in real time to every connected client. So if you need it on demand, you can get it in real time all the time, provided you are connected. You can get it. Also, you can connect on the network, so you can use the network when it is available to store and retrieve data on your own web-based service. So that's also service available for you to use. Kwa hiyo ni vizuri ukacheck. You can use special classes for Android Studio like Java.net, Android.net to make sure your app is always require a connection so that you can use this service that you need. Also, you can make a backup or configure auto backup, especially for app level 6 or higher. It can allow, for example, a sub app, it can make auto backup if you check that. Nataka kufanya auto backup, so at any time you're connected on the Wi-Fi, it can connect it. Also, automatically backup apps data to the cloud in a publish kwenye cloud for safety in case your phone or your device got some problem, then inakuwa rahisi ku retrieve back your data. No code required. It is a free service, so you can use it if you need it to get. You know what to do. Just sign up, then you'll use that service. You customize and configure auto backup for your app. So yategemea unataka configure namna gani na customization jinsi gani ya kuset your auto backup. So for more information, you can see how to configure auto backup for your mobile apps. Also, there's some special backup for version 5, that is IP level 22. You say register for Android backup service to get backup service key. Kwa utakuwa kupata hiyo key mojawapo. Configure manifest to use backup service, what I call it, so that you can use. Then create a backup agent by extending the backup agent helper class. In this app, I will use the backup. Request backup when data has changed. Kama kuna any update, the app will ask you to accept the backup because some new information or data has been updated in the app here. So if you need more information about this, how to make a backup, also you can get that link to know more information about it. So these are some of reference that you can use to get more knowledge about today's lesson. And also about backup, for more info about backup, these are the link that you can also pass through to add more knowledge about it. The next part of check about storing data. So this is actual storage of data in that particular part. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy your day.